Get ready for The Splash Live! Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live!
Good morning and welcome to The Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. A very happy Thursday to all of you in West Bloomfield, Kiko Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake Village. The Splash Live is Greater West Bloomfield's daily TV and radio streaming show. Watch us live Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Civic Center TV. Also watch us on Comcast Channel 15, AT&T Channel 99, on the web at civiccentertv.com, on Civic Center TV's Facebook app, and you can even listen to us live on 89.3 Lakes FM. Splash Live is part of Civic Center TV and Lake FM's 90 minutes of live local programming. And we want to take a quick look at the weather right now. It's going to be a cool start to the day, but warming up to a very comfortable 74 degrees for the high. Tonight, clouds will be rolling in with a low of around 60. And then coming up Friday, mostly cloudy skies and a summer-like high of 81. And those warm temps tomorrow will be a welcome sight for those attending the 11th annual Family Fun Night at West Bloomfield High School. The event is the pregame party before the big West Bloomfield-Clarkson battle at the Swamp. Our own Calvin Brown created a great promo for Family Fun Night. Let's take a look at that now.
Mark your calendars for the 11th annual Family Fun Night at West Bloomfield High School. Stop by on Friday, September 16th at 5 p.m. for an evening of free, fun activities as we honor our military, police, and fire heroes. Plus, stick around to see Laker football take on Clarkston at 7 p.m. To find out more, scan the QR code on your screen or visit wbsd.org/community/Family Fun Night.
Again, Family Fun Night is tomorrow, Friday, September 16th in the West Bloomfield High School parking lot. We will see you there. And if you can't attend the big West Bloomfield-Clarkson football game later that evening, you can tune in for full television coverage this Friday on Civic Center TV and WBTV and streaming at civiccentertv.com at 6 p.m. with This Week in Laker Football, followed by the pregame show, followed at 7 o'clock with all the action from the Swamp with Dave Scott and Tyler Kieft on the call. And if you're unable to watch on television, just tune in to 89.3 Lakes FM for all the action. Well, looking ahead at some canvassing that's going on, there's always, when you see people, strange people in the neighborhoods, people sometimes wonder what's going on. Well, we want to pass along a message from our good friends in the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office. On September 23rd and 24th, there will be canvassers in West Bloomfield neighborhoods, and they will be from the Music Boosters organizations from Farmington High School and North Farmington High School. So if you hear a knock on your door on the 23rd and the 24th, it might just be some youngsters from Farmington trying to help keep their school programs going. Coming up also this weekend, Music at the Main, a great treat for music lovers this weekend. As part of the Music at Main concert series, the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library will be hosting a special guest this Sunday, September 18th at 3 o'clock. Nano Japo will perform under the tents behind the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Building. This group is culturally related and traditionally artistic, and its name means keep together. The group is widely known and in high demand, so you don't want to miss out on this performance. Also coming up this weekend, ViewFest. Don't forget about ViewFest with games, food, freebies, and music. This ultimate free event begins at 11 a.m. and ends at until 5 p.m. this Saturday, September 17th. Come on down to Walled Lake Central High School and see what Words of Hope for Life is all about, as they support mental health in ways that bring out the best in everyone. Let's beat the negative stigma of mental health together and have a wonderful time at ViewFest. We're going to take a quick break here on the Splash Live, and when we come back, we're going to once again talk with our good friends from West Bloomfield Parks. That's coming up next.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Fire Prevention Week is just around the corner. Join volunteer, part-time, and on-call firefighters at this year's Fire Open House. Catch up on your fire safety knowledge with live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Chat with local businesses and resources about fire prevention, see some familiar faces, fight future fires, and make some new friends. The West Bloomfield Fire Open House, October 2nd from noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road. And now, back to the Splash, live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. Well, you've probably seen the shuttle buses that West Bloomfield Parks uses all about town. And joining us now is the man in charge of those shuttles. He is the transportation coordinator for West Bloomfield Parks, Ben Burr. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So, Ben, could you start off by telling us what are your duties as transportation coordinator there at West Bloomfield Parks?
The primary is the buses. I got to do the scheduling. I answer the phones, return the voicemails, do the scheduling, schedule my staff, and facilitate the needs for the vehicles. That is not just medicals, non-medicals. That is all of our trips that are on the last page of your transportation guide. After that, there's a host of admin duties. I work with senior services and whatever people need, I'm happy to help.
So if anyone's taking a close look at the vans, they realize that they are smart buses. Can you talk about the relationship between West Bloomfield Parks and Smart? Do you rent those vehicles from Smart?
Yeah, technically, yes. There's a federal grant. There's a millage that's actually ending soon, and the replacement is coming up in November. And this millage provides the federal funding that allows us to lease these vehicles from Smart. It gives us the money for repairs. It gives us the repairs themselves because labor is included in the lease. And it allows us to provide a lot of independence to our seniors. As far as an actual relationship with Smart, they operate their own stuff. We operate our own stuff. But there's a lot of communities that have these same transit shuttles under the same grant.
So there's the senior transit service. Now, how exactly does that work? Who exactly in the community can get rides, and can they get them to anywhere they want? Or do you guys have a limited access of where you can take folks?
Unfortunately, it's a limited resource, so we had to put some lines somewhere. Our services are available to residents of West Bloomfield Township, age 55 and up. We do have provisions for 16 and up. If you're disabled, there's just some forms you got to get and have your doctor fill out. For medicals, we'll book up to 4 weeks in advance, and I can go anywhere in the township. We can leave the township by up to 6 miles. And for non-medicals, your grocery shopping, your bank, pharmacy, we'll go anywhere in the township and leave the township by up to 1 mile.
And can folks go online and book these trips, or do they have to give you guys a call?
In addition to my admin duties, I do drive one of the vehicles. We work off a voicemail system. You can call 248-706-2411. I check them every single day. I try and make as many calls as I can before I go home. If you don't hear from me by 4:30, you'll probably hear from me before 9 the next morning.
So it's hard to believe that we're only a couple weeks from October, but I know in October, it's going to be the beginning of bus rides to the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Can you talk about those and how folks can sign up to be on one of those trips?
Absolutely. We have season passes with the DSO under their Pops series. Their Pops conductor, Jeff Tyzik, does an absolutely phenomenal job with his art and his craft. With October, we're doing Prohibition. It's music of the Prohibition era. My apologies. November has Sci-Fi Spectacular. They're going to be pulling music from all those wonderful sci-fi genre books, movies, radio shows. And then Christmas is home for the holidays in December. We still have 13 spots open for Prohibition. We have 3 spots open for Sci-Fi Spectacular. And the home for the holidays is full, but I always encourage never be afraid to be on the wait list. We had 3 cancels at last minute for stalls earlier this week, and we do pull off the wait list and people do get to go.
So now, if someone has like a caregiver or a relative that takes care of them, can those folks go on these trips with them as well?
Correct. For day-to-day services, medicals, non-medicals, a caregiver comes along. We don't issue a charge. Otherwise, it's $2 per resident each way. When we're doing the bigger trips, if you have somebody that's under the age of 50, because that's most of our senior trips, and you need them as a caregiver, they just have to register like anybody else, but we're happy to have a caregiver come along and happy to let them share that experience with their family.
Ben, let's talk a little bit about Restaurant Ramblers. This sounds like both a great idea and a lot of fun. Can you explain to our audience what Restaurant Ramblers is?
That one is, we take different restaurants. Heidi is our senior operations coordinator for the senior services at Connect. We'll pick different restaurants and we'll do 3 times, Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday. And it's cyclic. We just one restaurant, then the next throughout the season. There again, on the last page of your guidebook, we start signing up for those on the 28th. And it's a chance to get out, try someplace new, not have to drive there, have lunch with some friends, meet some new friends. It's a great program. It's very popular. That's why we do the lottery system, which is going to be on the 28th. Come on in, join us, have a continental breakfast. It's $10 to do the lottery, but that $10 just goes towards your restaurant Rambler registration. And, just make sure everybody gets a chance to go where they want. So that way the same group doesn't take all the trips, because that apparently was a thing in the past.
And we also want to mention there have been some new fall trips added that are going to take folks to both the Detroit Institute of Arts and OPC. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yep. Those are they're not even out yet. They're going to be out with the senior newsletter later this month. The OPC, we're going to go out to the Older People's Commission in Rochester and the Players Variety Show. They're going to do school days. There's lunch provided. They haven't told us what that is yet. We're going to do that on Halloween. And then for the DIA, they've got a whole Van Gogh exhibit where they're going to be able to showcase history, and that one is expected to be provided by the DIA. They're going to send out a charter bus, about 40-some passenger. We're going to help with home pickups and returns for those that don't drive, but my staff isn't involved in that. We got 25 spots open for the Van Gogh, and I think similarly for the OPC. Those should both be great trips. They should be tremendous.
So for now, these trips, do the folks have to come and meet at West Bloomfield Parks, or do you pick them up at their home? How does that work exactly?
Every single trip is designed and structured to be started and ended at our main office on Walnut Lake Road. You can sign up by calling 248-451-1900. And then if you have somebody, like I just mentioned, that doesn't drive, that wants to go on these trips, they just got to call me and arrange transportation, and I'll be happy to send the bus to their home. And it's just the same $2 each way to get them to and from the start point and end point.
Okay, Ben, just if we can remind us one more time that phone number that people can call and book those services.
To book the trips, you call Parks and Recreation's main number at 248-451-1900. To book transportation or to have me help you, please call 248-706-2411.
Ben, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you much for providing that great service to our seniors here in West Bloomfield.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That was Ben Burr, Transportation Coordinator for West Bloomfield Parks. Coming up next, we are going to talk with one of our great teachers at West Bloomfield High School, Social Studies Department Chair Jennifer Cepedes.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, can you start off first by talking about what inspired you to teach a course that centered around genocide and the Holocaust?
Well, my first class I took, the first class I taught as a teacher was in Ferndale, and it was the Holocaust through literature. And then as a social studies teacher, every year I was teaching some aspect of the Holocaust through social studies classes. When I came on to the high school, I took over a class called Global Studies of Genocide, and the Holocaust was already part of the curriculum. So I was able just to add more to it.
And so for years, you've been teaching kids about the Holocaust, but this past July, you were able to take a trip to Poland and view and experience the places that you've been teaching about for so many years. Can you tell us about how that trip came about?
Yeah, so I've been teaching about the Holocaust for 17 years. And last year, I was part of the teacher advisory board at the Zeckelman Holocaust Center for a year, and we were helping to develop curriculum and write lessons for teachers who were bringing their students to the museum. So while I was part of that group, there was an opportunity that came up to fill out an application to go to Auschwitz-Birkenau with the Memorial Foundation in conjunction with the Zeckelman Memorial Center. So I completed the application, kind of crossed my fingers, and then I was one of 32 teachers across the country that was chosen to be able to go to experience this amazing educational trip.
So a lot of times when you go to visit something that you've read about and seen photos and things like that, like what your impressions are and what you actually experience are quite different. Could you talk about some of those emotions and your experience there?
Yes. Well, what I tell my students is some of them do come in knowing some information about the Holocaust, and I'll tell them, you will never know everything. You can never know enough, and you learn something from every individual, every testimony that you read. So going there, I was shocked as soon as I went into really Auschwitz-Birkenau that I could hear the testimonies and hear the voices of survivors who had shared their stories with me and all my students over the years. As I was walking across the grounds, just some of their words were replaying in my mind. I was not at all prepared to hear their voices. And I think also just seeing everything, seeing how huge and expansive everything is at Auschwitz-Birkenau. What also surprised me was the ghetto wall. I knew that it had been destroyed and bombed, but I was not prepared to see how little of it is left, and that people are living in apartments just surrounding the ghetto walls now, where there's only a fraction they're trying to preserve it that's there today. So that surprised me. I was expecting it to be larger than it was.
Did you get any impression from the folks who do live nearby it? Is it something, it's just such a part of their daily life that they don't even think about it? Or is it something that kind of weighs on them that they're living so close to where such tragedies occurred so many years ago?
We didn't speak to anybody who is living nearby. We did have a guide who accompanied our group through Warsaw and Krakow, and also was in Auschwitz-Birkenau with us. So he was telling us that this is just part of their everyday life. They know where they're living because they're used to having visitors kind of walking around their backyard, and the lights just went off in my classroom. Walking around in their backyard. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So they're used to having visitors walking around, but we didn't get a chance to talk to any of them.
I read that there was some significance when you were looking at some of the remnants of what still remain in the ground, in the gravel, and there was a button that was on the ground there. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. The button just completely stunned me. I have, again, taught about the Holocaust for so many years and was familiar with what I was going to see at the museum. But this button, I was absolutely not prepared to see and just burst into tears because the button was on an area of the grounds that was called Canada. And Canada, it was a warehouse where the prisoners were sorting through suitcases, sorting through belongings, and organizing things that the Nazis were keeping. And they blew it up eventually when they were about to be, once the site was discovered and the Allies were coming over. So they destroyed it, but pieces of it and fragments of things are still being found today in the grounds, which I had no idea. So part of this is sectioned off. You're able to walk through it, and there are signs to say, please do not take anything with you. Everything needs to stay here as part of the museum. So I'm looking through the ground, and then I see this white button. And it just came flooding to me, the thought of this button belonged to somebody. This was on somebody's clothes, and what happened to that individual. So just this single button was really powerful. And I think that's important because it does tell a story. An individual person was here and is no longer with us.
So Jennifer, I started the segment talking about the lack of Holocaust knowledge that so many young people seem to have these days. What do you find with the students who take your class as to what kind of knowledge most of them have as they enter your classroom?
They have some knowledge from middle school. Some of them have visited the museum themselves. So it's general information, and they have no idea once we get into the weeks we spend on it, because nobody has really spent weeks with them, about 4 weeks covering the Holocaust. So they learn a lot more detail, a lot more information, and most of them are shocked that they've never learned it before. And they also wonder, how can we prevent this type of genocide from happening again in the future?
So that leads me to that there was another shocking statistic amongst all those others that said that over 50% of Americans believe that something like the Holocaust could happen again. And I wonder, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, not only people's belief, but could it happen again?
If people don't step up and say something, I think it's so important to prevent discrimination, to stop the anti-Semitism, and to stand up for each other, because there's definitely a lot of senseless violence and killing that we see around us, and just there needs to be more kindness and empathy. So, we talk about that in my course because we're covering a whole lot of genocides, and there are still genocides happening today. And we need to do everything we can as individuals and then as people to speak up and help to support those who are in trouble, who are being discriminated against, and who are under trauma right now.
So Jennifer, before I let you go, I understand that recently you were voted the Regional Teacher of the Year. Could you tell us just a little bit about that honor that you received?
Yes, that was a huge honor. I'm really excited to represent Region 9 as the Regional Teacher of the Year for Michigan. So I will be helping to support teachers and students throughout this school year. And one of my main platforms is student mental health. I'm also currently enrolled in Oakland University, working on a PhD in student mental health. So I'm doing really everything I can to help support our students this year across the state.
That was Jennifer Ceppetti, Social Studies Department Chair from West Bloomfield High School. Our thanks to her for joining us today. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back here on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I want to say a special thanks to our guests who joined us today, Ben Burr from West Bloomfield Parks and Jennifer Ceppetti from West Bloomfield High School. That's all the time we have for today. I am Larry Nunn. I want to thank you for watching the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's very own TV, radio, and streaming show. Watch us live Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Civic Center TV. Also watch us on Comcast Channel 15, AT&T Channel 99, on the web at civiccentertv.com, on Civic Center TV's Facebook app, and you can even listen live on 89.3 Lakes FM. West Bloomfield, we will see you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.